Support for Red Dirt D&D comes from listeners just like you. Keep this podcast funded by giving online at donate.kosu.org.
Welcome to the round table for Red Dirt D&D, episodes 15 to 18. I am Brooke Bullock, joined by the amazing
Connor Shenold.
Kiri Hester. I don't know why we went this way.
I'm confused because we're going counter.
Michael looked really sad that you didn't go.
And I'm Johnny Payne, by the way.
I'm Michael Cross.
I'm saving the best for last.
Whatever.
Brooke pointed really emphatically over to Connor, and you didn't see it.
Oh, you missed the cue.
Yes.
Well, it's not the first time that's happened on this campaign for someone, but spicy the tail.
All right, Brooke is on fire today. Time to go murder hobo
Someone put me out. I seem to be on fire.
on the
Note to
DM.
self, I just thought of this. Don't make fun of the guy who runs Foley.
You're going to give us this really serious battle, and it's just going to be Benny Hill underneath.
Yakety sax. Probably is what that song's called. Maybe I don't know.
I would say that's deep cut. Congratulations.
Deep cut. Yes, the Benny Hill song is called Yakety Sax.
That's awesome. I'm going to talk about it. Oh my God, demigod of Foley, the music, as we are at the Crystal Moon. The Copper Moon. The Copper Moon.
And by the way, that was not disco.
No.
That was funk. Because there ain't no way I'm putting disco in any of my stuff. But it was a funk type of, and I thought, let's do an upbeat dance for Kira,
Yep.
and Moxie.
That was great.
It was fun.
I wanted to
loved
go
it
dance
so
into
much.
that.
It was so unexpected. Kira and I were talking, I don't know what we expected the music to be here, but it was not this.
And then it rocked. I mean, it was great.
And there was I had some waltz music that I could do, but I was like, that doesn't. I want it to be more upbeat. I want it to be more of a fantasy.
I think I was imagining like big band or
Yeah.
something in that regard.
And that's why I thought
There
about
was
that as
some of that
well.
earlier,
Too, I
wasn't
thought,
there? Sorry.
yeah. Well, that was kind of the music that was kind of going as it was.
Yes.
And so I didn't want to do that again. I wanted something to be a little bit different, more of, because again, our world is not fantasy, which I love about it. It is more 1890 to 1920s.
Yeah.
Oh, so we had
Fantasy
funk in.
But that's true.
I mean, do they have a golf night at the conference?
If they did, when August show up.
Oh yeah, especially August sides as a industrial DJ.
We all need to pick our favorite type of music for each of our characters.
German industrial.
That would be the
Just bang metal pipes against sheets of steel is fine.
Nitzer Ebb.
You mean y'all haven't already made a playlist for your character?
Michael Cross, I love you. Now I got Netzer Ebb songs in my head. Fire.
There we go. Oh, man, I just lost my notes about
Would that be Connor? Be like a death metal?
No, it's emo.
It's yeah.
I hate my parents. They bought me this guitar.
So we I think it was a good episode. So we're not doing any battle whatsoever. Oh no, we did.
The last
it was
two.
mostly going in it.
I battled the stench.
Yeah.
again, and then the Foley, which is inside of the what's the fancy term for bathroom?
Privy?
Room.
The privy.
The privy for sure. Yeah. So, but anyway, I was looking for something else in my brain. I don't know. Shouldn't need more coffee this morning, but
Like water closet.
yeah, that works too. But anyway,
Powder room.
the powder room, all that fantastic stuff. I think, the Copper Moon would definitely have like a powder room, right? That would be.
I was so surprised
That's
that map that you
spectrum.
produced for us had
Powder
bathrooms
your
on it.
nose.
I know. That you don't usually see a map like that has bathrooms in it.
That was so funny that that Michael was so excited about. Oh my gosh!
That's what was Connor.
Yeah.
It's because it does not happen.
I've seen so many maps, and I'm just like, where's the plumbing?
You have to think about the world we live in, though. The world that we live in. So I'm watching TV with other normal people, and there's like a scene in the bathroom, and then there's like something, whatever. The stuff that we watch, Star Wars, Star Trek, no one goes to the bathroom. There are no bathrooms on these ships. We don't. So to see something without a bathroom, we're like,
I think of that a lot whenever I'm reading fantasy. I'm just like, when do they go to the bathroom?
when do these people poop?
When do you poop? My main question.
Well,
just
and
weird like
in
that.
a kind of campy way, it is addressed in Twilight. She talks about them as her human moments. She tells Edward that she needs a human moment, and that's when she's doing things like taking a shower, brushing her teeth, going to the bathroom, things that I guess Edward doesn't need to do. I guess tooth decay, not a problem when you're a vampire.
And we could go off on a tangent there and talk about, don't do so bones, your enamel's not alive, so therefore couldn't it be affected?
He does have to go to the jeweler every once in a while and get his skin polished. It's the skin of a monster, Bella.
I want to make a vampire character who's now a dentist. Not just a regular doctor, specifically a dentist.
And here's the thing, that would be excellent because you know what sucks? Having to take off work to go to the dentist. But if you can go to the dentist after work, in the night,
Bank.
You know what else sucks? Vampires. Because the minute you said it, we all had the word vampire.
he never takes enough for them to notice, just a little while they're anesthetized.
Like the tax guy.
Just a little nip here.
And boy, do gums bleed a lot. I'm just saying.
It's from a book. So Brent Weeks has a fantastic couple of series, and in one of them, there's this super creepy assassin type character that messes with people's teeth. And so when you said, like gums bleed a lot, I just had this image of like the vampire dentist just like running a finger like across the gums and like licking. Oh, it's very gross.
Yeah, that's gross on so many levels.
Yeah, it's so
It's gross even
so
if they're not a
creepy.
vampire. Ethics specifically, especially if they're not a vampire.
Yeah, so creepy. So the Black Prism, the Lightbringer series from Brent Weeks, and there's a guy in there whose last name is Sharp, and man, he is one creepy character. Really great.
The good news is the creepiest thing in our campaign is.
What is the creepiest thing on
I don't know.
I think in this run of episodes, it might be Tina, it might be Reynard.
Reynard is
golly, that is so hard to do as the DM because you evoke and you picture in your brain and the imagination, and just his leering of Moxie was difficult for me. It was like gross.
Yeah.
It's like you need a shower after dealing with it.
And the thing is I was listening back and I was thinking, Brooke's not being sleazy enough.
Yeah.
I needed him to say something more than he did to really kind of sell the sleaze.
Okay.
But as a person who also struggled flirting with you, I get it.
We had to do a whole Cyrano thing where like you looked at Connor while I was talking, and then that helped a little bit. So.
I'm going to give some peek behind the curtain since this is a round table.
Yes.
And do we want to order pizza now or wait till? It is 11:45.
Oh my gosh, I think you should. Yes.
All right. Same stuff as last time.
We're ordering pizza now.
Two
Everybody
pizzas in the
come on over.
calzone.
I believe the answer to do we want to order pizza is always yes, right? So I mean, we are
No
naming
such thing as
food,
bad pizza.
right? Yeah, 100%.
I'll get on that.
100%.
So we started out. We started out at talking about music because you wanted a.
I wanted Sixpence None the Richer.
Did you feel like because I couldn't have that because copyright?
Well, 10 seconds of it, but that's not
No, I couldn't even do 10 seconds of it because we're not technically I guess we are technically a nonprofit, but it's 8 seconds.
8 seconds.
Yes,
Gotcha.
but I didn't want to do that. So did that work for you? That moment?
You're
The
going to
music.
hate that I'm going to say this.
You hated it.
I didn't listen to that part of the episode.
Oh my gosh!
I just listened to 17 and 18
Insert
to
the
prep to
record
be here.
scratch right here. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
So what I did was I had the music going the entire time.
That's not entirely true, Kiri. I did preview it to you at Token Con.
Yeah. 17 and 18. He's talking about in
Episode 15.
In 15. I didn't listen to 15. I only listened to 17 and 18.
So when we had, because the music itself fit really well for your moment with
Rhapsody.
So it was really soft. It was romantic. Great. And then when you decided to come out, I just paused. I just separated all the dialogue and everything, and just had this moment where the music just swelled.
I'm sure it was beautiful.
And it's gorgeous. Now it's ruined.
I'll listen to it. I'm going to appreciate it even more now.
That's true.
There you go. It's kind of like watching the director's cut first. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
The director's cut.
But I enjoyed doing that because it's not off. I got a lot of good, like, romantic, nice music. But unfortunately, we don't usually get a chance to actually play that kind of stuff.
So maybe it's less She's All That and more Hermione from Goblet of Fire.
Yes. Oh, nice.
Yeah. She
nice
comes down the
reference.
stairs.
Yeah, nice reference.
Which is a great moment.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Speaking of things going down and sound effects, Kobe.
When we were playing in episode 16, and you said, by the way, you just figured out that Kobe is where Kobe's coming from. Yeah. And you went, oh, it's the bathroom. Like, oh dear. Okay. And it was so much fun having, and then it was nice that you actually do Kobe's voice, and I could actually pull that out and like have it underneath. So everybody's going, I can actually have that underneath you actually talking.
That's awesome. Who would have known that in the privy, we would actually see a new feat, a new skill that we haven't seen yet from August E. Graymore as he protects himself from a little bit of poo spatter. Yes. Tactical super technician. What is it?
Tactical mind?
I think that's
the thing.
Something like that.
I think it's tactical mind.
Tactical, avoid the poo.
Yeah.
Give Johnny just a little bit of leeway because he's in the process of making sure we all get fed.
I'm making sure we get pizza, yes. Tactical mind, yes. Woo! When you fail an ability check or an annoying little creature splashes down into a toilet, rolls his rice. Yes.
And it was so nice, just the way the universe worked, that you had taken the curtain, taken the sheet from the privy next door, and so it was such a great role play moment of, I'm going to use tactical mind. Oh, you have this sheet in your hand. You're like, hold it up, and then.
So what does it do? You when you make an ability check?
Tactical mind. When you fail an ability check, you can expend the use of second wind, and instead of regaining HP, you roll 1d10 and add the result to the ability check. If the check still fails, the use of second wind isn't expired.
Oh, that's nice. And it is on a fail too. So you actually can say, did that fail or not, and then roll that.
And if it still fails, no loss. Yeah.
True.
That's a good one.
I thought so hard I couldn't think of anything. This is what happens when it fails. Yeah.
But bringing Kobe up, which good thing we didn't put him a halberd or a longsword.
Boy, that would have. Yeah.
Hey. Itty bitty side tangent. Shout out to a secret listener. What's the name of that weapon?
Halberd.
And how do you say it?
Halberd.
And I say it halberd.
Halberd.
This has been driving me nuts for months. I just don't say anything.
It's halberd.
I've never heard
Halberd. Halberd.
Yeah, halberd.
Halibred.
Halberd.
Jalapeno bread.
Because sometimes even you individually, like Brooke will say it one way, and then like 5 minutes later he'll say it a different way. They'll do it too.
I don't. I always say halberd.
Halberd.
That's still Asmodeus. Anyway, so I'm
Asmodeus. No.
I remember when we were hanging out in college, it was Asmodeus.
Tomato, halberd.
It was Amadeus.
That's the one.
Amadeus.
Rugby Amadeus. Anyway, so woohoo. But yes, thank goodness you were smart enough. August was smart enough to bring up a short story.
It was me.
Yeah,
you were right the first time. It was me.
Johnny had
So
foresight.
I honestly, in hindsight, a halberd would have been better because he could have just lifted that up to me from the bottom. He would have had to have come out all the way, but I did not trust him with my main weapon.
Well, and it would have been harder to hide once you got out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
You didn't know that the conflict was going to start immediately upon exiting the bathroom.
And with a sword, I really wanted it to be a Lady of the Lake moment with a sword. The pier is out of the
I'm
toilet.
surprised you didn't give us like some magical tinkling music or anything, So
Yeah, no, that's
Well, because you didn't, because I love that you look down and there's just this kobold going,
just hanging to the wall, waiting for you to come up there, or come over there.
we have talked about the bathroom way too much.
But now wait a minute, 'cause I like the fact that, that there is like a privy area. There was a puff. What'd you call
Airwick.
it?
You're right.
I tell you what, the fact that we can blend arcane with a little bit of steampunk technology, that makes it so much fun because now I have answers for all of these things, right?
Burning questions that people have about the privy.
Yeah. You can have a little bit of luxury as a treat.
By the way, shout out to Paizo Publishing, who I stole the map from.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
those guys there and ladies there creating that map. So they put bathrooms in.
Did the first guy that walked in matter at all?
Or is that just to try and get me caught with the sword?
Yeah, the drunk
think,
was just trying to get you caught with a sword. There was one of those like bonus interplay there. Wouldn't affect hardly anything at all whatsoever. So along those lines.
And that's why you had him roll a
Percentile.
Yeah. Exactly
107%. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I like doing that. I like the idea of one percentile dice doesn't get used enough. I love percentile dice. And so I also love helping you guys feel like that it's kind of a door number one, door number two type of situation where you're making a choice even if you don't, it's random. But you guys, instead of me rolling behind the screen and go, oh, this happens, then I can say, hey, who wants to be in charge of fate? Or if it's a certain situation like Sable or August or whatever, I can actually give it to that player and say, go ahead, let's see which way the universe takes us. So.
I always love the chance to roll other dice than just a D20.
Yeah. See, now the original first edition, there were a lot. You rolled almost every die at some point, and
And the D100s weren't percentile dice; they were it was a golf ball.
Yeah, well, it still is a golf ball, but they still had the 10s, or you would roll 2 D10s,
correct,
and just choose which one was going to be the 10s. And I mean, but speaking of the D10s, if I'm not mistaken, in first edition, D10 was initiative.
Yes.
You actually had to.
Or was it a D12 because...
No, it was a D10.
No, it was D10. You're right.
And it was actually, there was an order.
Because there were 10... Go ahead.
There were 10 levels, and if you did something like casting a spell or did something like that, it would actually push you down further into it, or you could... There were reasons, or if you were
weapon
slower...
speed.
Weapon speed.
Yeah. Yes.
There were things, the reasons why. So it wasn't actually just a random number. There were 10, you go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 throughout the round.
Yes.
Who's on 9? Who's on 8? Who's on 7?
Segments.
Talking about
called
segments of your
segments
round.
of the round.
Talking
I
about
like
initiative.
TTRPGs with cool initiatives.
Yeah.
Savage Worlds, who we all know is my Saturday night game.
Is that how? What's it do?
So it's a deck of cards, and each
a regular deck of cards?
Like a regular deck of cards, and everybody gets a card. If you have taken I'll call them feats for this. I don't feat, quick feat. If you get anything under, I think it's a 5, you get a new card. Cool. I never take quick, but it's fine. And then obviously it starts. Kings goes down. And then at the end of the round, you get another card. So it's very like you could go back to back in initiative if you got last initiative, first initiative. It's possible that you could go before the. So
you draw a card every round?
Every round. So your initiative is different every round.
We used to
and
do
then
that.
if they pull the Joker for the PCs, all of the PCs get a Benny. And then there are other things like you get added bonuses and stuff like that if you're the one that pulled the Joker. But then once the Joker is pulled, all the cards are reshuffled and you start over.
Nice.
Go ahead.
It's pretty dope. Yeah.
That is really cool.
Plug for Savage World.
I almost want to do that.
There was I can't remember if it was an alternate rule or whatever, but there was a version of first edition in which you rolled initiative every round.
Yes.
Really?
So Shadow Dark does that. It's been in the news a lot lately. So you roll initiative, and highest initiative goes first, and then clockwise. It's that simple.
Wild.
So no one's talking about, well, what do we do? I want this one. I got this spell ready, whatever. It's just highest goes first, and then you just go clockwise. Next round, highest goes first.
Now,
go clockwise.
That seems
Pow, pow,
speedy.
pow.
Do
Yeah, it's
do you
speedy.
add like you can add like your
Nope.
dex bonus and anything like that? too?
Nope.
See, that's the only thing I wouldn't like about that is because of that. I think that Sable's character has to go first. So and the reason why why typically Sable goes first is because Sable's got such a high dexterity. You've got extra things going on.
But on the other side of that, characters like Sable are kind of hard to build. You don't. There's not really. There are some now people who are big Savage World fans. Don't come for me. I haven't read the books. I just do what Kenny tells me.
Right.
There are some feats wherein like you can get ups on your like attacks or ups on like specifically taunting. I remember that Trent had one where he got an up on an enemy if he was taunting them, and he would always ask, "Hey, are they taunting me?" And Kenny's like, "No, they're not. They're just talking to you."
Yeah.
But anyway, but there's not a lot of, because you go first, you get all of these benefits.
Yeah.
Not that I have seen in my table. Again,
Now,
hardcore Savage World fans don't come from me.
I was thinking you still do that with the cards. You just add your dexterity bonus or add any bonus that you normally would get. And I love the idea of going every round because that's so neat because then because especially when you know, as a cleric, typically roll under a 10. It'd be nice to actually get a chance to go over that. But
on the other side of that, it also like there's pros and cons to everything, right? So some of our stuff is that so like in our combat in the casino, Johnny and I had the same initiative, and so we could have just said who has the higher dex, that person goes, but I said you're more likely to get unblinded before me.
Yeah.
Let's have you go first. And we knew every time that, like, you know, we know when things are coming.
Yes.
So there's some planning, but yeah, for variety's sake, it's always fun.
And I think, especially with these new 2024 rule sets, with like the level 1 feats, and especially with Johnny and I having somehow gotten the same feat, which is real fun.
What's crazy, they're two different feats, but they do the exact same thing.
It's
what I
really
like.
fun that both the soldier and the criminal get the same exact feat.
Maybe we're not so different.
two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
I'm vying. I don't want to use the word
Friends close.
thirsty, but I can't wait to see an August Sable-like team power up because
I know, it's going to be great.
You want to be back cop this time?
Which that put Moxie and Elias together, we would die. We're just gonna die.
well, you guys haven't. Well, I take that back.
We talked about this last time.
Yes.
We very specifically don't divide up that way because it makes me and Michael very vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
You've got knuckle dusters now. You can hold your own.
I haven't gotten to use them yet.
No,
I spent the whole combat blind.
I did want to mention that I was so disappointed that it ended right as you were unblinded. I was so sad because I really wanted, which that just I think also means that we can really expect it later when Moxie finally goes to town.
I think it just helps build up that
I will say
anticipation for it.
it's not. I will say it's not very clear to the listener when you're just listening, because I had forgotten about it and I'm listening back to 17 and 18 and I'm like, why does Michael waste a turn making her grovel instead of unblinding me? And it wasn't made very clear, dear listener, but yes, he was very far away from me. Even with a dash action, he couldn't have gotten to touch, and he needed to be in touch range for that one.
Yeah, and I also didn't want her to run off, and I did not realize she was at 1 hit point. Had I realized she was at 1 hit point and was surrounded by these two guys, I could have dashed over to you because it was a bonus action. That's how I got to him. Was I disengaged and then went over and did the bonus action, or I did a
You did a cantrip, yeah.
So I could have used the action to get over there, but again, I thought she wanted more.
It was a big
Casino.
casino.
It's the song of our people.
We're praising the tornado sirens. May they always be functional.
Always work, always save us.
Deep optional. Where did that come from?
My brain. I don't know.
Wow, Brooklyn. So I wish I had gone over and done that, but
It's fine. I'll just stay standing over here yelling bardic inspiration to all of my homies.
Now, hey, that was one of them. You were actually able to do things while blinded because you realized because you read the rules.
I don't have to see you. You just have to be able to hear me or see me.
It's just encouragement.
Yeah.
I love it.
And that's going to come up again because you only have to, it says see or hear. So this means that if I'm like in a silent spell, I could like do a little hip action or something and give bardic inspiration.
Don't move like that.
The compatriot just has to be able to see or hear me. It's an or, it's not an and.
Nice.
The number of times Michael went, you rock, and gave, like some symbols. The number of times that I think it's Kiri characters, but the number of times that you do like body language, two fingers, two eyes you, two eyes there. I bump into him. I dart my eyes at the privy and then look over at the ballroom. And the number of times that Kiri characters do that, it's really great. Like it's a quirk.
It's understanding that people exist in the space. But yeah, Billy was 2 fingers at my eyes, 2 fingers at his eyes. I will kill you if this cat's not here when I get back. But I will say I was very happy. I know we're kind of jumping around all of these episodes, but I was really happy to see. And this is something that maybe Moxie and August will end up having a conversation about later. Because we never established if August knew that this existed. But I Mark Reynard.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was so great.
What?
I Mark Reynard.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know?
So Johnny knows what's up, but
right.
August.
Because you.
So we need to talk about that offline because August has hung out at the bar a lot,
Right.
and has kind of played the heavy a few times when he needs to. Maybe one day he asked, he wasn't doing anything. Why him? And you told me,
Maybe.
Yeah.
or you
So,
kept the mystery alive.
I don't know.
Yeah, I said because we still really haven't quite established. Yes, you're a patron of the bar.
Yeah.
But are you that? I mean, you can go to a bar. You can go to a bar for years and not actually know the bartender or the staff at all. That's a place you go to drink.
I feel like everybody who comes to the Siren Song, I feel like everybody knows Moxie. She's like the kind of person.
Knows Moxie, but knows Moxie. That's the difference.
Right.
Yeah, like nothing outside of you
is-
just going there.
Yeah.
I'm a celebrity.
Yeah. Yes.
Within the bar, yeah, right? Very flashy.
Well, and also
She's pink.
She's pink. It's very, that would be very obvious. But Oh, and by the way, I was thinking about last night. We finally watched Wicked.
Nice.
And that moment where Elphaba is born green. Again, I thought of Moxie being born pink.
Pink.
Yep.
The baby is unnaturally pink.
You watched half of Wicked.
Now this is also.
Which I've actually seen Wicked already, and I know all the music. And by the way, phenomenal. If you haven't seen it yet,
Yeah.
it is the best adaptation of a musical I've ever seen in my
And
life.
the book is so different.
No, completely. I
Yeah.
love Gregory Maguire's book.
Uh-huh.
And I love the music. I actually, when I saw the musical, because I'm not going to spoil what the ending is, but I was not happy with the ending.
Yeah.
In fact, so much so that I...
Does the house fall on her?
Well, no, that's a
Bad joke, sorry.
But the ending was, I was not happy with it all. I don't think I'm going to feel that way about this one.
We'll see what they do.
Because,
See what they do.
I do like the fact they have added a little bit of the book in the movie that's not in the musical because they have a little bit more time.
Right.
They got it when you're just doing it on stage. It's very hard. We've all done stage productions.
Well, and there's a lot you can do with being able to do close acting, to do small acting, without having to communicate
4
across
hours.
and also
stage.
large acting.
Yes.
The scenes with I don't think the Cowardly Lion is in the musical. The Cowardly Lion is in the book.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the Cowardly Lion gets its own book, and it is the more boring of the books.
Yes, it is.
It's the
I
only
was-
one I never finished.
Me too. I read Son of a Witch and I was like, well, okay, that was okay. Wicked was phenomenal. Son of a Witch was, that was okay. And then I started reading the
I don't even remember what the
something about
title
Lion
is.
and Courage and no, but what I mean, the little lion cub is in.
Correct.
Now, they don't. Gregory Maguire never says this is the Cowardly Lion, but the way they're treating him, there's a
Yeah.
And I think they did the same way in the movie. It's like they're not saying this is the Cowardly Lion.
It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Right.
So the movie is phenomenal. I think that.
Speaking of wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I just love that in the original Broadway production that Joey McIntyre of New Kids on the Block was the original cast member.
Yeah.
He played Ferio.
Oh, yes.
And of course, that was when Idina Menzel and Taye Diggs were married, and they're both in that.
Or Idel Mazine, depending on who you're asking.
I do love the fact that the two of the Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel show up.
Yeah.
Kind of as an homage to them, and they both kind of pair up with their
Kristen Chenoweth
from Broken Arrow.
Yeah, she is.
Speaking of wink, wink,
wink,
nod,
nudge,
nod. The game of blackjack, named for some legendary hero somewhere.
And I back about 10 years ago, I tried to write a dice game for blackjack. Because the problem with blackjack is there are like 4 chances of getting a 10.
Yeah.
And, there are 4 times as much chance of getting a 10 than any other number. That's the whole point of the game. So if you're just rolling a D10, it doesn't quite work.
The odds aren't quite the same.
Yeah, because if you get an 11, you take a hit.
100%.
Because the chances of you getting a 21 are really good. When you're rolling a D10, it's just a 1 in 10 chance. So I remember once writing, it was like
Hey, listen, there's
rolling
only
a
so many
D15,
ways you can convert it.
but yeah, I loved it. I love the fact that we got to play it. I love that they gave you a chance for Sable to see what Zephora was doing.
Eventually.
And I think that played eventually, yes. It's the one time we've kind of seen Sable, I don't want to say fail, but fail. Like, it's the one time that he's not been immediately successful with some things.
Perception, even with like a skill in it, is only a +30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I mean, is still kind of good. None of my stats other than strength is a 0 or a negative. My strength is a negative, but that's because I don't need to be strong when I can be uber dexterous.
No, you're
dexterous.
You're actually strong. Throw that on there.
Good job.
catch. But August is actually strong. August is not a dex-based fighter. August is a strength-based fighter. 16.
I don't remember.
I think so, because halberd, short sword.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing.
Because I was twisted. I was like, do I want to do? I almost always will go
Well, of course,
dex.
Billy was a strength-based fighter.
That's why in one of the first few episodes I couldn't move the cart.
That's right. That's right.
Moxie and Dr. Stone had to tag team it.
Yeah, which actually Dr. Stone actually has, and it's probably, without a doubt, the strongest character I've played so far.
What do you got?
Oh, no, that's not true. There was Gaz.
Gaz.
Which is a strength-based barbarian, obviously. You cannot I tried to put together a dex-based barbarian, but it didn't work. Because rage only works on strength. So.
It'll work. It will work well.
It won't work well.
Yeah, that's true.
Intelligence-based barbarian, though, there's a spot for that.
Be the most put together barbarian who never rages.
My first barbarian I ever created is like, what can I do a background that would be totally off of, And everyone always picks like soldier or something. So I picked noble. And the fact that he was of a half-orc tribe and he was actually a prince. Yeah.
I like it.
What is best in life? Having tea at tea time.
With your enemies. With one of your enemies.
Sandwiches.
I don't remember what class.
The whistle of the kettle.
I don't remember what class he was, but Adam Conover did a guest arc on NADPOD where he played an orc who was essentially Fraser Crane.
Sounds like Beast from X. Yeah.
And it was very well done. Adam Conover did a good job with that.
Could be a very dangerous session, boys and girls, because it seems like that Johnny's brain.
Hey, your hikes are going to work there.
You gotta put it up.
See what I do?
You have to click them both together.
You got to put them on both because they'll slide down.
Nice, very nice, very nice. Thank you.
So it hooks through one and
Speaking
touches
of
the
which,
other.
if you were listening to the episodes and you were like, listen, Brooke sounds funny.
I believe
3 years in, we're still trying to figure out how lapel mics work.
Now, technically, the lapel mics, though, we've only been using for this session. Or we got some.
I've had one forever because
I'm
obnoxious.
Well, because you move around so
But
much.
I want to say at least half of season 2.
Yeah.
We had shotgun mics.
Clip-on lapel mics, and then we switch.
Was that your name in high school? Shotgun Mike?
If it wasn't,
Rewrite forgetting
when
history.
I tell the stories, it is now.
And back then, they used to call me shotgun.
and I don't know if it's because I was wearing. It was chilly that day, and so I was layered, right? And I don't know if that was it, but for some reason, 3 different times this clip.
Technically, I think it was 2. And here's what happened. In 15, we about halfway through the second part, your lapel mic fell off.
It fell off.
We figured it out about with 5 minutes left. In fact, all you had left was a closing. And then in 16, it fell off. 16, it fell off. We found it.
Yep.
17, it fell off near the end. And we didn't realize it, but Johnny had to leave. We just let's jump right into the next one. So we jumped right into the next one and never looked at your microphone. And that's why I now have better headphones on so that I can tell when you don't. That's why I could hear that your mic was not as close as it had been before.
Hear that difference. And the sound was in the raw. The sound was still there, but it definitely seemed like I was way far away from the mic.
Which you were. I was pulling it from every mic in here.
Yeah. And so Michael reached out and said, "Hey, listen, can you take these and re-record them at home?" So I'm listening to it on my phone with my earbud and then recording on the laptop. And then I'm echoing myself, listening to what I said, saying what I said, listening to what I said, saying what I said.
And unless you're really listening, the beauty of when it all gets leveled out and when you put in music and sound effects underneath, you tend to not notice, you can hear. It reminded me while I was doing it of if you're watching a movie and there's higher wind or someone's back is to the camera or it's for some reason the shotgun, the what do you call that thing, the boom mic did not pick it up. You can hear when they've dubbed in their own voice. That's the sound I'm getting. It's obviously.
So if you were listening and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this sounds really intimate with Brooke," he's right here.
That's right in my ear.
Exactly.
We fixed it in post, basically.
We'll fix it in post.
There's one moment in, I want to say it's 18, where you can hear Brooke's re-record going on at the same time, where you can also hear Brooke in probably Michael's mic.
Yes.
Because Michael's the one that's talking.
Yes.
There's one moment, but it's kind of if you aren't paying super close attention, you might miss it. But yeah, because I remember two Brooks.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but it was, the nice thing about being able to record on several different levels is the fact that I can take everyone else out when one person is talking. It's a little harder when we do have a little bit of an overlap, but I've done it once when it was I think it might have been Connor, or it might have been Johnny and Kiri, where Johnny kind of came in a little bit before, and I had to kind of finagle that. So where it was, but yeah, the fact that we're doing on this Zoom recorder that has, everyone's on their own track does help out a lot.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. So it's really, really good. I'm glad that the card games came across pretty good, because sometimes things you can do at your home game that are great entertainment for the people around the table would not translate well to radio, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think we pulled it off. I think we pulled off the games pretty well.
And it was a nice little something we could do while we're just sitting at a table.
Yeah. Especially since we're trying to get to know these NPCs, which I love the fact that you're the DM had to put the Tina here for a reason. I have to figure it out. And of course, she's a criminal. That's why.
Not a single time did he try to do any kind of insight. Did he try to do?
Nope. I'm just sitting here waiting, but nope. And teasingly, lovingly, I will say that just a little bit of juggling that Brooke has to do, because Sable keeps killing people before you talk to them. But it's okay. It's okay. We can make it work.
Let's talk.
We're going to have an interrogation while more guards are coming in, and she's groveling before me. I just, you see an opportunity and you take it.
I'm going to speak for Johnny. Us groveling before us. He's in the kitchen as a good man should be.
Pizza's finally here. You see an opportunity and you take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And we got Zephora already blabbing, so And I just want to point out, it's
welcome.
not a crime to work for the Sapphire Society.
I did notice that.
She did not. She did not.
She did not say anything. And I, when I was listening back, I was like, I wonder if she should have.
She's just been employed, doing her job.
By the way, I did not catch it until I was editing, but you were talking about Tina having an eye patch.
Yeah.
Did not catch that the first time.
Totally forgot that. Or was that a thing?
Yeah.
Totally a thing.
Was there
I really wondered. I would have yelled out.
mechanical reason for her to have an eye patch, or is it just
Oh, yeah.
to make her look
Look behind me.
menacing?
Yeah, it's just just the little
she
kind
keeps
of
her stuff.
adding that slightly swashbuckle flair.
Because I would have yelled out, Connor, don't kill her. She's got an eye out for me.
No, she doesn't. She does not.
No, I wouldn't have yelled that. But
She ran from you the first chance she got.
the girlfriend jokes, right?
There you go.
Anyway, ta-da.
You got a picture of her?
Yeah,
You should put that on Patreon.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We can do that. So, booyah.
Did you draw that?
Oh heavens, no!
Oh,
No, my goodness, no way.
Notebook's
So,
ways.
Anyway, totally again stolen from the internet.
Yeah.
But no, we'll give credit
As
where
you
credit is
should.
due. As we
At least it wasn't AI, right?
You're not I steal my stuff the old fashioned.
Credit your artists, even if you stole from them.
Exactly, 100%.
Yes.
100%.
Make sure you spell Google search right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the combat, because you talked about I never did an eye insight. The only insight I finally did on her was when she closed her eyes.
Yes.
And I'm like, let's do an insight on that. And fortunately I did, because it's the only thing that kept me from getting blinded.
That's right. That's right. Her cohort, the magician, B-rate Snape, I think Johnny called him or whatever.
We called him Snup.
Snap.
We have Snape at home.
Yep. He cast pyrotechnics off of all of the fixtures in the room.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's a little. I did not know that.
Yeah.
He creates pyrotechnics off of
I
all the
picked
fixtures
that
in the
one
room.
up, and I
figured it was either that or they were set bombs to go off.
I had spotted him doing the scroll.
did.
But here's the thing, and this is, we were talking about, we didn't do anything. We can't just attack him. I couldn't just attack him because I had no probable cause.
He could have been like the cleaning guy doing some prestidigitation or something.
I had no reason to believe that things were about to explode.
It's like Sable caught on that something was happening.
Right.
Yes.
And so his instinct was just to move closer to Moxie.
Yep.
And
A lot of good that did me.
Maybe it was August who noticed the thugs were looking nervous. Like
Yes, August did.
yes. And
Because
she's like,
August
"I
tried
gave
to
a warning."
communicate this to Earl, and Earl is like, hey, wrap this up.
And then I tried to communicate to Dr. Stone. Maybe it's time we take a break from some blackjack. And he's just like, but my girlfriend.
She's pretty and she looked at me.
You're a full-grown dude.
It actually was like you mentioned that, like she's like in her early 20s or something like that. And I'm like,
You're
sitting there,
twice her age.
I'm like,
Yeah.
It's
but
fantasy.
mostly I really kind of took this to kind of find out who she was and
Yeah,
why she was there, which is,
100%.
I mean, the only reason, again, it's D&D mechanics. It's something that wouldn't happen in normal life. You wouldn't just sit it and start finding out why this person is sitting at the table, because it's just a random happenstance that someone is sitting at the table. But in D&D,
You know everything.
there's that. It's like when a new character player rolls up a new character because the last character died, and then joins everyone goes, okay, you're fine, you're in our party.
That's right. How much box text does this NPC get? Because that tells me whether or not
that matters.
Exactly.
And so I did like the fact that we did have, we're having a conversation who she is, and I don't know how much of that was actually part of the character or something you just made up on the.
Most of that was just like a note or two, and then just off the cuff. For me, it tickles me that she chose Tina because, of course, as Kiri has said, like, why do you got to give them such complex names, right? Like, her real name is certainly not Tina, and she was just like, Tina. So, in my brain, Tina sounds like a really weird name to everybody else.
There are
right?
those who call me Tim. Oh, great Tim.
See, I would have made the joke that, because she says, Tina. And I was like, oh, nice to meet you, Tina.
Tina.
Yes. And then that's the other thing you do, hopefully that you do, is stutter, right? And make it really obvious to the player and to, of course, the character that she is totally lying.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even need to roll. She is obviously lying.
Yeah. And speaking of the combat, I actually got to do something that is new for the 2024, which is Lesser Restoration as a bonus action.
That's awesome.
Rather than
Amazing.
I did notice that, and that thought occurred in my mind that because that was very, you did a lot in that turn, and I was like, bonus action. It's Michael. He probably knows what he's doing.
Right, because it's just, and that's why I have these. That's why I have magic cards, or spell cards, is because they've changed so much, and like then the other thing I got to do was cure wounds.
Yeah,
which is 2d8 now rather than just 1d8, and adding in all my life clerics of 19 points of healing for a first level spell.
Which was amazing because out of 24 hit points, which at this level is all that Sable has, I was down to 4 of them.
Yeah.
So now I'm
nothing
only
to call
one
that.
less than...
That's a sizable number of HP.
The cure wounds, healing word is also now 2d4 rather than 1d4.
It's amazing.
It's and then Lesser Restoration was the problem with it. I've played clerics before. Is the fact that do you waste an entire action just to take care of it? Now, usually the answer is yes, but then you've wasted an action. Now you're surrounded by enemies. You can't attack. You can't do anything else. So the fact that they made it a bonus action, I think, is just genius.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get blinded, and so I just look through my spells and like, oh, okay, every single one of them has a visual component. Every single
is the
one.
only one I know right off the top of my head that you do not need to see. They just have to be in range.
Is Bane the same way?
Visual. It's all 3 VSM.
Dang.
Amazing.
Up to 3 creatures of your choice that you can see within range.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm writing out my spell cards, I always that you can see should always be it, because it's something amazing how many people will say, "Oh, I cast this," or "You're blinded." Well, I don't think that matters. Do you have to see them?
Yes,
Oh,
that you can see.
Well, are they invisible, or are they in the darkness, or are they? There's so many reasons.
Line of sight.
Not being able to see does actually matter a lot in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What do we see ourselves doing next?
Meeting to go to, don't we?
So we're going up to the
Zaylen Pierce has appeared at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, he's coming down.
We should start attacking him.
Oh, Dr. Stone has learned a lot from me.
There's that 1-800 number for Dewey, Crittum, and Howe. Where's that 1-800 number?
Right. I was surprised that he came out, and of course now the question is, how many of us know who that is? I don't know who that is.
There you go.
From visual.
Yeah, just as by appearance.
You know him by we know him by name. Is it the church tell us about him?
No. I completely know who that. A guy steps out of a door. I have no idea who that is. Does everyone else know him by appearance?
Yeah, it's like,
I think
do you
that
know
I
every
do.
single congressperson on site?
Right.
Now this is.
But he's
super rich guy in town.
Yeah, he's a name of a name for
Elon
sure.
Musk just walked out the door. Well, I'm just thinking the richest person that I would.
Right.
Yeah.
A recognizable person.
Yeah. And also an elf, so he's been around for all of our lifetime. Now, obviously not me because I've been in another city, but for you guys,
he also, I knew that he was here.
True.
Because Kira told me that Pierce was doing some
and
kind
you've been
of
doing
event.
research.
Well, I mean, I live here. I was talking to Connor about this at TokenCon when we were sitting at the table, and I kind of, unbeknownst to me, but obviously it can't be world breaking because Brooke would have said something, I made Rhapsody way too old, so that she existed here in this area pre
Spell plague.
magical outage. And so
Whatever it's called in this world.
presumably she knows everybody because she's known this town since before it was a city and it was just a little hamlet.
Now, how much of that time was she
Out
out
sea.
at sea?
So I can say for certainty that for at least 90 years, she's been running the Siren Song.
Okay.
Because I'm in my 60s and I've been there my whole life.
True.
You need to put together a timeline. But it would still be her home base, even if she was out at sea.
Well, no, because that's not because she retired from her seafaring days to open the Siren Song because she was brokenhearted. There's a whole very beautiful backstory to Rhapsody.
Wonderful. Which is why if Moxie ever dies, she's playing that.
There you go.
But yeah, so the Siren Song probably came into being like a decade at most after a decade or less after the magical outage.
Okay.
Which is wild. But so yeah, she definitely should know a lot of things.
Yeah. I love that because it's not well. I mean, it's good for a DM to have a character that we can all go to for information, and now we do that. Ready made.
There's the joke. That when they were writing a lot of the screenplays for the Harry Potter movies, a lot of the information drops come from Dumbledore or Hermione because you assume Dumbledore knows everything and you assume Hermione read it in a book. Right. And so they don't have to explain to the audience why that character knows that.
Right.
Ron told you that?
Right.
It's typically it's good to have a character, whether it's in a book or in a movie or on DM, to have a character that can give you exposition.
Yeah,
you bet.
Otherwise, it's so much harder to figure out what needs to be done. So I love the fact that you've introduced a character that Brooke can use as.
It's just one of those, like, you have to tread the line between being able to get a lot of information about the world from that character and then that character kind of giving the answer to the test.
Oh yes, yeah.
There's a line there and you have to figure out why that character has that line, why they can exist on that line for you. Because it's obviously not like any kind of moral line. I mean, I guess it could be. So like Minthra probably has a whole lot of knowledge about things, but she's not going to, because of her ethics and the way that she views the world, she's not going to share all of that information with everybody.
That's a need to know. Everybody's on a need to know basis
with Minthra, for sure.
love her.
Versus
so is John.
Another creation, not mine. That was Connor's creation.
And another one that has more backstory than the PC character.
Yeah. Listen, I love Minthra's backstory.
Is
there really?
Yes. The Minthra backstory as well.
Minthra has great plot and backstory.
I know.
Wink.
Yeah.
Connor knows what I'm talking
Minthra
about.
and Rhapsody both have like 4 to 5 pages.
Oh my gosh. That's
versus
Gary doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I do. Versus Moxie has like a page.
I have like
I've got
3 sentences for Sable.
I've got more backstory for Elijah.
Than any character ever. I'm so proud of you. I really, really am.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if you ask me, and this is...
I know what kind of pajamas he wears.
Right, and, you know, we've talked about you sitting down with that questionnaire and that kind of, you know, helping you do all of that. If you ask me a question about Moxie, I can tell you the answer.
Yeah.
So like recently, Connor sent me over a message and saying, hey, in sometime in our next session, I would love for Sable and Moxie to have this kind of a conversation. Yeah. And so then I was able to respond, oh, given that circumstances, this is how Moxie would respond. Is that kind of where you're wanting the story to go? So that we can, that's about as scripted as it gets, folks. That's true. Just me being able to say Moxie would encourage Sable to do X, Y, Z because of this part of her personality, and just so that you know that that's what she's going to say. And so then Connor can be like, oh, that really serves the story, or oh, that really doesn't serve the story.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of improv, too. I mean, we were talking to someone at TokenCon about, by the way, TokenCon was phenomenal. I really loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was great to see so many people there.
Oh, yeah, it was
so
great.
packed. They packed the Reed Center front, up.
Yeah, they doubled their size.
Super growing,
So excited. To Mike and all the people doing all the good work.
Yeah, Mike Dallalow is doing a fantastic job. But they asked about what is Red Dirt DnD. I was like, we are basically an improv group that and Wayfinder Legends is an improv group. We just use D&D and Pathfinder as our system to do. Every improv does some kind of system to do their improv. We just happen to use Dungeons and Dragons for improv
because it's fun.
Yeah.
For storytellers.
You bet. I am. You know, and what's great about Minthra and Rhapsody having these huge backstories and presumably a huge knowledge base is that by the time that I kill off Sable and Moxie, they will we'll know enough of the world that all that knowledge can come into play at the table.
Listen, Rhapsody and Minthra.
Sable was bad. Wait till Minthra.
Here's the thing. I feel like they would be like...
I don't know if they get along or not.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like they wouldn't.
I don't think they get along at all. But we already know Minthra is like, that Moxie girl. Right?
And
now what if there was like, what if you could, because
Rhapsody
if they had a past of some kind,
Rhapsody is
you could
just
connect
faces really
like 200 years ago or something like that.
Do Minthra and Rhapsody have a past, and that's why she doesn't like it. Oh, we got to take a note.
Because remember, they're
World building, boys and girls, is
what if
happening right now.
Minthra was on, like, she's a pirate. Rhapsody was a pirate. What if Minthra started out as a pirate too, and they knew each other from...
probably not.
For most of her life, Minthra was in whatever equates as the Underdark.
Yes.
To Tanvariel, whatever
Yes.
we named the continent.
We should talk about that, but we really don't have time.
we've got about 5
But
minutes
in the
left.
next round table,
need to talk about the world.
We need to reveal some things about the world. It's a map. That would be great. Next round table.
So she's lived in like the Underdark for most of her life.
And Rhapsody was at sea for most of her.
So probably around when Rhapsody, thank you, started Siren Song.
About 90 years ago.
Minthra was forced out of the Underdark to live on the surface. And like even later is when she started as like the foot soldier of the Sapphire Society and has slowly built her way into the position that she has.
That's why I was
now.
saying, I think they would know each other then. Just like you,
city.
It depends, because just like the Siren Song is on Sable's beat, that isn't always true,
That's
right?
true.
So Minthra could have had a completely different section of Ironspire.
And then I think
I'm just saying it'd be a great prequel.
I think Siren Song is a little too quaint
Happy.
for Minthra. It's like Minthra was
not
used
edgelord
to prestige and like having people that she commanded and all that kind of stuff.
We're a little loosey-goosey free spirit over here.
But if you do die, you could play those characters, and if I die, we could Iris Stone Cipher.
Iris
We could
Stone
bring
Cipher.
and if you die, we could bring in Earl. In fact, I was thinking
Or Logan. Because he just got a mini on our Discord.
What?
Ben made a mini.
Oh my god.
I was thinking that though, Michael, when you were saying that, I was like, man, if either of those two lost a character, they've got a fallback they can just jump in as. We should all start doing that. Yeah. Someone that we keep in the loop, or they're keeping us in the loop, that would justify the group knows them and they know the stuff.
Yeah.
It's easier to do in a campaign like this one where, knock on wood, we are kind of locally based. We haven't
We
left
could
the
leave
city.
the city though, and then like if I die, you could get word back to town,
Right.
and then Logan hears it
Yeah.
and comes limping, running.
Of course, I was thinking Earl, the guy that we run into. If you guys got married and he took your last name, he'd be Earl Greymore.
I love it.
Earl Grey.
Hot.
That sounds like too much tea.
No, that sounds like the ship name.
Ben made a mini of
Logan.
Logan.
Oh, that is fantastic.
You guys are seeing something right now live.
like his-
It is amazing.
His boxer shorts have hearts on them.
The boxer shorts have hearts on them. He's got the
This is
the
good,
rum
Ben.
from the
This is
Siren
good.
Song, and that
mechanical
prosthetic
leg.
leg is. With the green, I love. How does Ben know this?
I know, Ben.
How does he
Ben
tug into
also
these
got us all
details?
miniatures that he handed us to Token Con. We all got miniatures and love these miniatures. He's done such an amazing job. And
I want to spill some curtain here.
yeah, go. Dun, dun, dun.
Logan Mitchell is a play on names of a lifelong friend from childhood who passed last year.
Oh, no.
And he walked with a cane, and because he suffered a major injury
gamed
and
with
such
him.
and everything.
I think you'd mentioned him. You gamed with him at Game HQ, isn't that right?
No, I lost two friends last year.
Oh, was this one?
The other one, Earl, is the one I game with at Game HQ.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, the three of us were all and so really cool, Ben. Yeah,
That's
what. No,
amazing.
I was like, man, I want to find a way to pay homage to them by just slipping their names into the game. And it's a combination of last name and middle name. Someone's first name is
Sure, mix it all
So
around.
I mixed the two together to get the names out, and I told the friend circle and crew about it and everything, and they're like, "Oh heck yeah!" And they started listening. Hey guys, but yeah, so it's
That's amazing.
It's really neat.
It's on the
cool,
Patreon
Ben.
Discord.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
incredible.
Okay.
So good.
only got about a minute left, so if you want to close this out.
Well, yeah. Speaking of the patron and Patreons folks and stuff, we have some new folks to say howdy to. Dancing Dan,
Dancing
Mark
Dan.
M,
Mark M.
and General Joey have all joined the Discord. Yay! Or joined the Patreon.
Welcome.
So,
Yeah.
yay! Good stuff. And speaking of Ben, super shout out. He has upgraded from a bronze dragon. He's now a silver dragon.
Go, Ben.
So,
And great hanging out with him at TokenCon. We had a blast, absolute blast.
oh yeah, it was tons of fun. Perhaps we'll get a chance to put the minis on the board today,
help us
and
out.
then we'll take a picture and we'll
All
post.
we have to do is start fighting Pierce.
Just
I've been
saying.
a bad influence.
There's always consequences.
There we go. Yes. And he's like an 18th level wizard.
The big,
You know,
big bad end guy that we
Yarxie would just throw it.
off at
He's
level
the
3.
BBT that we're supposed to get to eventually.
I would just run. I feel like I wouldn't even engage in that. I would just be like, that's a bad idea.
Boxing out.
I'm gone.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's even a fight Sable wouldn't pick.
right?
So you're on your own, Dr. Stone. You're very
I don't even know who this
squishy.
guy is.
That'll work to our advantage. I really like it. I really like that idea. So, but anyway, man, I love playing with you guys, and I love the fact that listeners, you're sharing what we're doing with friends and neighbors. Keep spreading the word about Campaign 3 and Curse of the Clockwork City. Just having a ton of fun. Any last thoughts from anybody?
Nope.
Ready for the next one?
Woohoo! Well, man, let's get ready to play some games and have some fun. So thank you very much. I am Brooke Bullock.
Michael Cross.
Johnny Payne.
Kiri Hester.
Connor Shenold.